Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have the October 2nd, 2021 Pocket Change Market Report video available for you. We have a pretty nice lineup, I'll be honest with you. 36 coins is what we're going to be talking about today. And if this is your first time here, welcome, first of all. Always a pleasure to have new folks on board. And, of course, in this video, we talk about some of the most relevant errors and variety finds that have sold on eBay within the last 24 to 36 hours. All coins are raw in this video. Nothing's graded. Of course, I'm not a particular proponent to grading a lot of these coins on the list, simply for the mere reason when you're out spending anywhere from $40 to as high as $100, and that's for PCGS error attribution, folks. When you spend that kind of money to grade a coin that is worth about $25, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to enhance the value by a large margin, especially if you're investing, that crazy $90 to $100 for error attribution, and you still end up with a $30 coin. It doesn't make any sense. Where are these being found? That's a question I get all the time. If you like to just hunt through just endless array of change from pennies all the way up to the dollar coins, that's going to be kind of like one of your main resources. It's a great way to not only enhance your collection by finding stuff in pocket change or bankrolls, but it's also going to be just an endless outlet of cash making, money making opportunities. Now, this is nothing that I'm going to undeniably say, yeah, you could get rich doing this, but you could certainly supplement your income by doing things like this. And the part that I love about it, especially hunting through change and bankrolls, is that it's like house money. If you think about it, you just have to go to the bank, probably 5-10 minutes away, go ahead and grab as many rolls as you can, search through them, find some of these errors, cash in, return the coins back to the bank. I mean, it couldn't be simpler. Not a whole lot of effort. It's a great way, if you have like an afternoon to search. That's why I recommend. But also, these are some coins on here that if you enjoy going to a local coin shop, you like to cherry pick, or maybe at a regional show, those would be coming up here during the fall season. That's another great way of finding some pretty nice stuff for your collection or things to flip. Dealers, a lot of them don't really care about the low-end errors and varieties. So that's going to be an opportunity for folks like you and I to take advantage and just really have fun with it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the first set of coins. And that is going to be this one right here. One of my favorite sellers on eBay, just continually pumping out really nice stuff week in and week out. I mean, obviously, this is a Lincoln cent. It has no visible or readable date, of course, because this thing is struck off-center by, well, about 95% or higher. The seller had actually said 99%. I don't think it's quite 99. It's close. It's between 95 and 100 for sure. I mean, there's really no such thing as a 100% struck off center. It would just be a blank planchet at that point. But it's got personality all on its own. It does have carbon spotting, so kind of treat that as corrosion. And, you do have a good amount of, devices on the off-center strike. You got parts of the motto here on the obverse, and you can see part of 1 cent on the reverse as well. So it's kind of cool, even though it doesn't have a date. People that collect these want them by date. They're just, that's just where a lot more of the value is going to be associated with that. This one right here is sold for $11, so not too bad. It is what it is for this coin with some apparent surface issues. All right, the next one that we have here is going to be a relatively modern 2013 $1 bill, Federal Reserve note. And this one has a quite under-inked first print. As you can see, the actual main black printing of the first here is quite faded. And that happens on occasion, when the ink wells on the presses are running low. that it's going to show that as being kind of like a lighter print, and then it'll get to a point where it's going to barely print anything at all once it completely runs out. But with these type of notes, you also have to gauge the third print as well, because people, will try and sell these things, and it's obvious that the note has been washed in like the washer and dryer, and it'll come out faded. But take a look at the third print on here. It's very strong and robust. The district seals, the serial numbers, and the quad corners is what I like to call it, these 412s right here, all encompass that third print. It's very strong, very bold, and normally you would have like the same type of fading all across both the first, second, and third print if the note's been played around with. Now, don't overpay for things like this, first of all, because you never know. Counterfeiting is a thing out there, and people know how to doctor notes to make them look like something that it's really not. So always keep that on the back of your mind as a collector. That's important. You don't want to lose money in the long run. The reverse of the note looks pretty good. Nice, strong, bold inks here. And keep in mind, this is a newer note. You can find this out there. This one through 27 bids. Lots of activity on this one. Sold for $33.89. And we also have a 1974 $1 Federal Reserve note. This one has a third print that is way misaligned to the right. Anytime you have elements of both the first and third print overlapping, that's where it really begins to gain a ton of value. This one right here, no exception. It's a beautiful, beautiful note as well. It does have a centerfold, so it's not quite crisp unk, but it's pretty nice. I would be pleased to have this in my collection. This one right here sold for $137, and that was collected by 30 total bids. So another very active listing. And there's the back of the note. The second print is looks good. It's pretty well centered, maybe slightly shifted to the left a little bit, but there's nothing funny going on here. All right, back to some coins, and we're just going to go right into the bonus round with an ultra rarity in the Buffalo Nickel series. This is the 1918 over 7 overdate. This is also a Denver minted coin as well, so it only shows up on Denver coins. But this is one of those cases where I would say, if you want to add one to your collection, buy one that's graded, because it's legit. The coin has its issues. I mean, it looks like to be in pretty decent shape. I would consider it to be maybe a net fine 12. A technical grade is VF20, but you do have a few scratches on the reverse in a few areas that really kind of detract from the overall appeal of the coin. Even though it has a really nice strong strike. I mean, the date is bold. You could see it. Here's a close-up of that overdate. I mean, you could obviously see the flat top of the 7, and then on the bottom diagonal bar of the 7, it's legit, because this particular circle here of the top of the 8, this loop right here, is cut in half. All right, so that's and you also have that semi-cut bottom curl as well. It looks like a letter D. On a non-overdate, those will be completely circular. So that's a good way of kind of differentiating one to the other. It's especially important in lower grades. You need to know exactly what you're looking at, because this is a very valuable coin. But you do have a very rare overdate. In spite of its couple minor warts, this one realized $1,550, which is a solid amount of money for an ungraded coin. Now, this is pretty neat. We only have 2 lots on the list, but they're both very cool, very impactful. We have a trio set of 98, 99, and 2000 wide AM reverse Lincoln cents. This is a fantastic set if you're just looking to get all 3 coins. The coins are in decent shape. They're not going to wow you, with some crazy mid-state 65 type of grade, but if you needed one of each, and especially if you needed the 99, I'm happy to say that this 99 right here is quite clean, and it's the most scarcest out of the trio of coins. On the reverse, This is a variety that's really easy to see with the naked eye. You just need to know what it looks like, first of all, before you go, diagnosing every single coin being a wide AM, which is a common misconception. A lot of people do that. But the 98 right here, you can see the big gap. The 99, you can see the gap as well. And also on the 2000. For the 3 coins, I'd say this one did exceedingly well for their condition. It sold for $194.25. All right, so older coins with lamination issues. I say they're issues because way back in the day, and when I mean way back in the day, I'm meaning like 5 years ago. It doesn't seem like that long ago, and it really is not that long ago, but lamination error coins, especially on older like Wheat Cents and earlier Lincoln Memorials, were not that coveted. I had a hard time trying to get rid of them for 50 cents to $1, but now that there's more attention to minor errors because all the other coins are expensive, people are picking these up and they're collecting them by dates, which is quite interesting and very fun. This is a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Cent with an obverse lamination that's it sticks out. It goes right through Abraham, goes through Liberty, and it's got a big old flap that kind of come apart and folded over. And it stretches just about all the way across to the T in trust. This one right here, keep in mind the grade. It's like a VF condition coin, sold for $5.99. And we also have this one here, a little bit lower grade than the previous coin. This is a 42 Philadelphia Lincoln Wheat. It's got a detached lamination on the reverse, and it also has a retained piece also that's right above the word United there. But really cool. This is what I consider to be a minor lamination. This one right here sold also for $5.99. I think these were both sold by the same seller. So that's a pretty good amount of money for these 2 well-circulated pennies. All right. New discovery alert. It's bound to happen. And the person that either found this one, had sold it, or had bought it, okay, this is going to be a direct message to not only you, but also a quick little PSA to everyone that's watching right now. A 2000p Sacagawea dollar. We call them the golden dollars back in the day. They still kind of fit that narrative. Check out the reverse. First ever recorded die break cut on a SAC dollar per cudsoncoins.com, which means there are no examples yet logged in there. So if either the seller or buyer wants to get their 15 minutes of fame and get this attributed, I would highly encourage you guys to go ahead and send photos to the admin team there. I believe probably Mike Diamond or one of the other guys will help hook you up and get your name recognized on this variety. Or not variety, it's an error. But yeah, first recorded, and there's got to be more. I'm willing to bet there are more different styles and progressions of die breaks and cuts on these coins. It's just a series that everybody kind of turns a blind eye to. And it's understandable. It's not a popular series, but, the more in different types of errors that are found on these coins, the more they're worth. I mean, case in point, the speared eagle or wounded eagle reverse or variety of this coin is a coin in all conditions that goes for like $75 to $100 in circulated form to as high as many hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000 for mid-state examples. So the coins on their face, not interesting, but once you start to find and kind of peel away the layers, it's like an artichoke, right? All the good stuff's like in the middle. But once you peel away all of the various types of layers and possibilities that you can find on these coins, it's certainly worth the trouble. This one right here, 4 bids only. So there was a few people going back and forth, sold for $60.25. I would imagine that in a different world, this would probably end up being not only a discovery coin, but it is a discovery coin. Someone just has to man up and own it. But in addition, it could be worth more in the future as more people begin to kind of search through these to find more of these type of coins. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. This is a relatively recent $20 Federal Reserve note. It's a 1996. It's the modified larger head, design. It's non-colorized, all right, so it's not one of those. But this one has a partial back to front wet ink transfer, all right, so you can see that right there on the front of this note. Now I'm going to say this again, guys. If you're going to do this and sell it and try and make money on eBay, take your coins and currency out of the holder, please. All right, so we can avoid not only focus issues, but also white glaring issues, white balance issues, things like that. You're just going to get a much better presentation for your sale than if you kept them in the plastic holder like what this one is in. But wet ink transfers happen when the sheets are being printed and then they're being stacked on top of each other. Obviously, the ink's still a little bit wet, so you're going to get some of that light transfer. The transfer will always be mirrored, all right? So see the words there? The letters, they're all reversed. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see them the other way. That would be incorrect for this type of error. 25 bids on this one for $104.25. 5 times face value, I'd say, is a pretty gosh darn good hit on this one. There's the back of the note, just so you can see what the condition looks like. It's got a little circulation wear, but all in all, pretty decent look. All right, here's a 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one's off-center by about 15%-ish, 15 to 20%. One of the more common dates of off-center struck type of coins, 98 to 2001. And this one sold for $13.99. If you need an example for your collection, this is a good one right here. It has a full date, and that's what collectors of this error type care about. Here's another Federal Reserve note, a little bit older. This is a smaller head size, 1977 $20 bill. This one has a gutter fold right there on the right-hand side, so you definitely see that omission of any sort of print, and you can even see that the paper is slightly off kilter, and that's because this particular sheet had a wrinkle in it, and it never got stretched out before the print, and it printed over the wrinkle, and that's how you get the gutter right there. Very well collected error. It is kind of like on the lower end of error desirability, but still, if you're able to find a note with multiple gutter folds on the same note, those are quite special. And the reverse does not show the gutter, which means the wrinkle was stretched out prior to the second printing on this one. This one sold for $53.99. Now here's a sleeper of a coin, 1962D Lincoln Memorial cent with an obvious this is either like a little detached lamination or that's a strike through. Either way, it's a pretty neat coin. Otherwise, the coin looks like it's passed through many hands and was forgotten by a lot of people because people just don't really care about something that looks like it took a hit. But sure enough, this is a pretty nice example of a minor lamination or strike through. This one sold for $22.75. I would trade this in for a $20 bill all day long, Now you guys are familiar with the In God We Rust quarters, right? They usually show up on the Kansas State quarter, but we have a new one here, another one. Hawaii State quarter. This is a 2008D. It's a Denver minted coin, as you can see. We have a little bit of a clogged die here on the T in trust. And that's how this got its namesake. All right, the T's nearly missing, so they call it the In God We Rust quarter or Rust quarter. That's how it's affectionately referred to. So this is the first time that I've seen this one. There might have been other examples that have sold in the past, 10 years or so. This one sold for $14.30. So if you come across these, and for you folks on the West Coast that, find these in change and all that, this one does exist. This is a good one to pull out. A little bit of world coin action. We have a 1957 Perth Mint Australia penny. Very cool. Off-center struck. Looks really nice. And Australian, Canadian, and any GB, Great Britain type coins. I would say I would even throw China in there. These are all countries that have really well collected bases, all right? So, and they are looking for error coins. You just don't see them come up that often, but when they do, they are being battled for. Like this one right here, sold for $80.56, and that's with 4 total bids. That's very impressive, and this is a seller that is in Australia. All right, well, just when you think things could be a more crazier, we have another crossing the Delaware 2021 P Washington Quarter. This time we have some pretty wild stuff going on, and hopefully you guys can see it, especially on the reverse. But we have this, what looks to be Washington blowing his nose and getting snot all over the place, is actually a sizable strike through. I mean, strike through still happening in 2021. Who would have thought? And we also have a little bit of strike through here as well behind the Washington right there. So that one's not as apparent as this one right here. That one just is pretty clear as day. But yeah, these errors continue to come out of the woodwork, even on brand new 2021s, and we are only a few months shy from 2022. Do you think the mint quality is going to improve any? I don't know. As long as they're short-staffed and they don't have a dedicated, well-to-do quality control department or team, yeah, more of these I'm sure will get out. But this one right here, a real shocker, $89.99. And that's the kind of money that's at stake for finding the first ever example of something. And this is the first major obverse strike through that I've seen on the new 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware quarters. That was a mouthful. Sorry about that. All right, so this is a great, example of a cherry pick that you could really find at a coin show or shop. It's an 1844 braided hair large cent. This one is the overdate, however. It's the 1844 over 51, if I'm not mistaken. No, this is over 81. Sorry. So, as you guys know, the dates are punched independently on the working dies. So, they'll punch each number independently, and sometimes they'll screw up, And we're talking folks that worked for a living back in the 19th century, and, who knows? Well, he says someone probably took a shot of whiskey before they were punching the numbers into that die. You just never know. I know that seems kind of like the cliche thing to say because it's like, oh yeah, Old West, or, I'm like, well, it's the Philadelphia Mint. That's not the Old West, but you never know. Just overall quality controls compared from today to 170 years ago is vastly different. But this one, as you notice, the coin is not in that great a shape. It's like a fine 12, maybe, on its best of days. It's pretty well worn, and it's all gunked up with grease and stuff. But you can see that top curl, the 8 right there, which is very noticeable and very strong. This one sold for $155.50, and that's with 13 bids involved. Check that scrap silver. You can find something like this. This is a good one, 1934 Washington Quarter. This one is not a looker. This one has, this one has been rode pretty hard through its lifetime, but it's a beautiful one. Check out the doubling in the motto "In God We Trust." It's pretty strong. Super strong. Lots of notching. You can just see the offset nature of the doubling. You can even see it in the date. More so in the 3. You can see the little bit of a notch right here and on the top of the top curl of the 3. But yeah, this is a good one. One of the top double dies for the series, and in low condition, they are continuously being thrown into the fire. Literally, they're being smelted and melted. Coins that traditionally have like a $5 melt value, type of number, is worth a lot more than that. This one here in this current condition sold for $32.95. Now you gotta tell me, is it worth it to pull these out? Absolutely, do so. I haven't seen one of these in quite a while, but it's good to revisit one. Good to see one back on the PCMR 2005 P. It's a Philadelphia, West Virginia statehood quarter. This one has a nice sized die break cud right here about the 4 o'clock or K4 area of the coin. And yeah, West Virginia is a great date to look through, or a great state to look through in the series for these cuts. They show up on the left side, they'll be here on the right side. There's a number of different attributed examples of this coin. This one sold for $19.86. Here's a 1988 Lincoln Memorial. This one is off center by about 15%. A little bit tougher date, and that's one of those things that people look for. They want specific, like full date with a mint mark, because they collect these by date. They like to have a date series of these. This one's in pretty good shape. Keep in mind it's a copper-coated zinc era composition, so you do see some of that poking through there. The copper plating is very thin, so you do get some pull away, which is natural. It's a decent shape. This one sold for $7.97, and that's with 7 bids. Here's another personal favorite, 1995 Lincoln Memorial. This one is the doubled die obverse FS101 variety. This one is well known in the community. Lots of great doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust," along with the word liberty. It's one of the strongest of this particular era before the single squeeze press era, which was came right around, was it 1998, I believe, or 99, somewhere around there. Yeah, the doubling hasn't been as crazy as what you saw on this one. This one in this current condition, which is quite nice, sold for $37.32. Here's a 42S Lincoln wheat cent. Check out the big old die break cud right here at the base of Abraham Lincoln's bust. It's kind of like an oddball shape, and I like it. But also note that there is quite a few condition issues, lots of rim dings and all sorts of other things going on. So it's not the perfect coin, but this is one that you see infrequently. Also keep in mind on the reverse, you'll see the weakness on the corresponding side as that cud. That's always important to see firsthand. This one, through 12 bids, sold for $42. Well done. Here's our second and only lot of the day, and it's going to be a lot of 7 error coins. And they're all actually quite interesting. We have a 79p Susan B. Anthony. It looks to be like a misaligned die. Here's a 98D, also a misaligned die, obverse. 82p off center by about maybe 10%. Here's a nickel, looks to be like a 73. And then this dime over here is Broadstruck. All right, so that's the first 5 coins. Here's the last few. Another uncentered Broadstruck, 1981. Oh, that other dime's a 2000p. And then finally, a 1984 Lincoln cent. That one's off center by about 10-15%. Just an overall great lot. This is one that I would definitely keep in my watch list because it's like all really good quality errors that you can either cherry pick to add to your collection, or you could take each and every single coin. You bought it for a really good deal. You relist them on eBay as singular coin auctions. And the idea is you want to try and make double your money, which if you play your cards right, you do a little savvy bidding action, you should be in good shape. Oh no, I'll leave it up to you guys. I think there's some meat on the bone even with this high buy price. 29 bids altogether for this one, sold for $85. So if you were to realistically isolate all the good coins, maybe not so much the Susan B. Anthony, that one's kind of weak. But you could easily make about a $20 bill on most of these. Maybe not so much the Lincoln cent. That's probably more of a $10 to $15 coin with today's market. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an edge shot that was not provided by the seller in this listing, but this is a 2007p George Washington, or I could assume it's a Philadelphia. This one is a missing edge lettering, so it has no lettering on the edge of the coin where that's how it's fashioned at release. The coin's in decent shape. I would say it's probably a fringe Mint State 64 example. And this one sold for $17.99. This is the most common president to feature a missing edge lettering. Here's a 1971D Jefferson nickel. This one has a pretty nice curved clip along with some of the Blakesley effect on both the obverse and reverse of the coin, so some of that flattening is showing there. Pretty decent example. It's not a date that you see too often. This one sold for $4.99. And here's another good one. This is actually a little bit tougher doubled die obverse compared to some of the other ones that exist of the same type, but this is a 2019 P. American Memorial Park National Park quarter. This one is the DDO number 1, I believe. And this is the more rare of the 3 or 4 other ones that exist, like the Michigan Pictured Rocks has the same double die. The Salt River Bay also has the same one. But there you go. So you can see the motto, "In God We Trust," is stretched out a little bit. So we got a little Class 9 doubling here. This one sold for $43.45, which is a very surprising amount of money, but not too surprising because it is the rarest out of the few of the same type of doubling. Great, another statehood quarter. I like talking about these, and I'm glad that these are finally getting some exposure. Maybe it might be a result from my videos, I'm not sure, but we have a 2000D New Hampshire statehood quarter. This one is off center by about maybe 10%-ish, somewhere around there, but you know, statehood quarter errors are very desired, especially from the dates 2007 to 2009 when they had the territorial and DC quarters. But this one's nice as well. This one sold for $26, and that's with 9 combined bids to get there. Another big cut, this time on a 1970s Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is fantastic. And I love the grade on these. I like good red-brown mint-state examples. This one is quite sharp. This one features a really large cut. And I'm glad we know that it's at least a 1970s example. So, you know, I guess we could kind of leave the last digit up to our imaginations, I suppose. But yeah, a big old piece of die had fallen off after many strikes, and this is the end result, the end product. This one sold for a steamy $121. 121. And here's a 93 Lincoln Memorial. This one's off center by about 10% as well. It's a date that you don't see that often, but it's in decent shape if you need it for a date set. This one right here sold for $21. And another cut, but this time on an unknown, undated coin. I mean, we do know it's a Jefferson nickel. It just doesn't have a date, but it was struck in Denver. I mean, that's kind of a big deal considering that you don't see a ton of mint errors on Denver coins, but you might as well add this one to the list. And this one, and it's circulated for sure, sold for $53.30, and that's with 6 bids. So that's a really strong amount of money for a dateless cut. I think the size and all that really does matter, right, ladies? And we also have a 2020 Lincoln Shield cent. This is a surprising one on the list, to say the least, because it is a newer coin. And who would have thought that you could find something like this in a roll? I couldn't, but I see one in person right now staring me in the face. It's off center by about 10-15%. Excuse me. And this one realized $35. Sorry, I had to take a little swig of drink. Man, 33 minutes of nonstop talk. Your throat really dries up. But let's keep going. 1988P. This is an uncentered Broadstruck Roosevelt dime. Pretty nice, very bold, quite strong, and very lustrous. So it's a nice high-grade example. This one realized $28. And here's a side-by-side of the Broadstruck coin and a regular Roosevelt dime to give you guys some perspective on the size. This coin is probably as big, or if not close to, a nickel size. That's how big it's swelled up after that broad strike. Now this is a good one. It doesn't look fancy, but I'm willing to bet you guys will be looking for this one in the future. It's a 1983P Washington quarter. I mean, this coin is notorious, and the date as well. You just don't see them in nice high grades out there because they didn't make a mint set for it. But you guys see that die break cut right above the T in Liberty? Yeah, that's a good one. Subtle enough that it can be missed, but this one right here, no doubt about it, is one that you need to look out for now. Sold for $33.20. Otherwise, you'd just be throwing away $30 back in the old, coin roll. You don't want to do that for sure. This one's neat. 1964 Roosevelt dime, so you know it's a 90% silver plan. This one is off center by about 70%-ish, somewhere around there. It does feature a full date. The 4 is there. It's slightly, well, from these pictures, you can't really see it, but it's there. But we don't know if it's a Philly or Denver. I'm probably leaning more towards a Philadelphia coin. And a best offer was accepted. The seller was originally asking $145 for it. It probably sold for right around $100, and that seems to be kind of like the trend for this particular type of date, which is not bad. I would take a $100 bill for this coin all day long. Here's another 83p Washington quarter. This time it's slightly off center by about 10%. Just a great looking example. Still mint state, I would assume, based off of what I'm seeing. You do see flashes of luster, although the lighting is a little dark on this one. 6 bids for this one brought this one to $22.80 sale. Here's a 78. Now, much better pictures on this one. Not from the same seller, but this one is off center by about 40%. 18 bids altogether brought this one to $47.21. I'm a little bit jealous. I wish I would have seen this one. I would have bought it because it's my birth year. And then finally, of course, after talking about it a few weeks ago, here we go. This coin making another appearance. The second one in recent memory. But we have the notorious 2000p Maryland statehood quarter with the die chip on Washington's chin. After thinking about it, I'm like, that looks like something familiar. And it looks like the old Egyptian kind of like artistic, like the men used to wear on their beards, kind of like that decorative cap or whatever it is they use, or a coil or whatever it is. That's what it reminds me of when I see this thing. It's just crazy. I can't believe that this thing actually left the mint. It did. I'm sure it got discovered early on, but this is a really, really impressive die chip. There's a little bit of a close-up for you if you haven't seen it before. This one is pretty well circulated, so I would imagine more of these do exist out there in some way. 8 bids altogether, and this one sold for $56, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? 36 coins up, 36 coins down. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hopefully you got a little bit of an inspiration watching today's Pocket Change Market Report video, and I wish you guys the best in all of your hunting activities for the weekend, because I know some of you will be doing that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Hit the dislike button if you don't. And we did a little something different at the end of these videos. I added in our email address. If you got coin questions, we'd love to see it. Go ahead and submit your full obverse and reverse images along with close-ups. That'll work to our live coin Q&A email. And then we have a panel of experts, myself included, that will take a look at your coin and reach out to you. And it may even be highlighted on our next Monday live stream. But that's going to go ahead and do it. You guys take care. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. I don't know if you guys are tired of hearing that little saying, but I'm going to keep saying it. It doesn't matter. You guys take care. Have a good one. And have a good weekend. See ya.